All right. Right now, I'm about as confused as four rats trapped in a sock. I do not understand. I told my story, and hold on real quick. I just got an important text. You know that old saying, you give someone an inch and they take a mile? That's exactly what's happening right now. I had came into possession of several Apple products, and I hooked up a deal with this Hispanic lady, and one of them, like, I totally didn't need because I've been waiting to upgrade my iPhone anyways, and it's not compatible with my iPhone. So I just gave it to her. It was a brand new um, leather mag wallet, and because she bought something, I said, "Here, I'll throw this in. This doesn't work on my phone. It doesn't stay in place like it should. But since you have, an upgraded phone, either 12 or 13, it'll work." And she was so happy that. Then she calls me and tells me, if you get any more Apple products, let me know. And I'm like, yeah, I have, a couple iPads and a couple MacBooks that were never really used. One of them is still wrapped. One of the iPads is still wrapped up that I just never got around to, opening it up. And I only bought that thing like maybe 8 months ago, 6 months ago or so. Um, and she completely tried to lowball me on that after I give her such a good deal on the first thing she bought. And I'm like, God, and I even give you a free mag wallet made of genuine leather, and now you're asking me for all these devices for an extremely low price. I mean, come on here, help me out. Like, I'm not, money hungry, so, but I'm also not stupid. I'm not just gonna give them away. But anyways, the confusion part comes from, I just filmed the very last part of my path to the music industry and my eventual retirement. And for some damn reason, they blocked it. I have no idea why. Well, now that I'm talking, I think I have an idea why. Um, so I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit quicker because the other one ran 51 minutes, and I'm like, you know what? I could tell this story in less time, and not every detail needs to be shared, but I mentioned several times the first record label I worked for. Um, I mean, we had it all. We had it all. Access to how many cars we wanted because the investor is so fucking wealthy. I mean, any car you could almost think of, with the exception of like an Enzo Ferrari or, something like that. He had a Lamborghini and would let us drive it. And I'll tell you what, that was always my dream come true, was to drive a Lamborghini. And this dude also, he wouldn't have, this was like his show car. He like kept it. This dude, so his house was like a fucking mansion built on acres and acres that he owned. Within walking distance, I would say maybe, let's say 7 football fields away from his house, was this miniature looking stadium. And this is rich people shit. They're doing what's called dressage. And dressage is when it's in the Olympics. It's when you see the horse do like a little walking, little, like stepping this way, sideways, backwards, like if it were dancing or something. That's dressage. And white people love this shit. Not just white people. I know I slipped up there, but that's all that was there was white people because they were very wealthy. And I'm like trying to comprehend this. I'm like, so the horse is like doing like a crip walk. Okay. Like, yeah, I don't understand what I'm looking at, but hey, open bar. Just hook up with the free beers, you know what I mean? Because this is when I was still drinking. And a little bit after the record label got disbanded from the fucking stupid ass producer. And yes, this video contains strong language because of how angry my anger will never go away from that asshole who ruined everyone's opportunity. But, um, man, he had in a showroom a Porsche 911, a Porsche Carrera 911, and that was the same car that Paul Walker from Fast and the Furious passed away in from the car accident. And if you ever seen, I mean, they are absolutely beautiful cars, and there's only a handful left. Not the GT. God damn it. This isn't it. So I don't know my cars very well, but I thought this was the name of it. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, I need to take out the 911. These cars are just absolutely beautiful, and they are so ahead of their time. The only thing is that you have to know what you're doing to drive this car. You cannot just drive it like a normal race car. Like, I'm sure you guys heard of the Nissan, what is it, NRX or something like that. Uh, that really expensive Nissan, the $100,000 Nissan sports car. I mean, that has like fly by the wire GPS that you could turn nearly 90 degrees and not even feel it. With this car, it didn't have a computer that would adjust for anti-lock brake system. It didn't have a computer that would adjust for oversteering. It didn't have a computer for anything. It was a total, just straight out sports car where the driver was in control of everything. And it was a shame that it took this reckless asshole to be in the position to get Paul Walker killed. And I don't mean to call him an asshole. I'm going to take that back, because no one deserves to die in that kind of fashion. In fact, I hope they passed away before they even, before the car caught on fire, because that just would be horrible. But this was his baby in his showroom. And I remember I used to look at it and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, one day this is going to be us, when I really thought that the record label was going to be taken off. Because I had been to his house plenty of times before, when during the record label days. And I'm like, yep, that's going to be us someday, watch. And it never came to fruition. But what I was saying in my path to to my retirement is, any of you guys who are interested in joining or trying to get into, get a foot in the industry, just know that you're going to be sacrificing more than what you think you are. You could have probably already guessed that, sacrificing a relationship, sacrificing, friendships, sacrificing, holidays, because essentially when I was interning, I had to go pick up Catherine Bruton, who I featured in the last Path to the Music Industry, or, my Path to the Music Industry Part 2, who was the head of BMI. I had to go pick her up on Christmas Day. And, Christmas is a huge holiday for my family and I. That's what they expect of you. And they expect of you to be on there every little, every time they call you, you have to answer the phone. Almost like being on call. I'm not going to liken it to a doctor, because of course we're not saving people's lives, but the entertainment industry as a whole. And it was always instilled in me. I'll never forget what he said. It's, a dog eat dog world, and you're too nice to be in it. And I'm like, if I'm too fucking nice to be in it, then why is it every time that I have a hand in doing something, such as the radio event, you're taking credit for it too, when you just sat on your fat ass making, producing beats? That's what you're awesome at. And I will never doubt, like I said, I will never dim his shine off of fucking producing. But other than that, you were a shit businessman. You don't know the concept of money and how that money needed to be spent. He wanted to floss and look all dope and got this one of the investor guy, you know, had one of these big avalanche trucks at the time, and had our record label and all our faces vinyl wrapped. And it's like nobody knows who the fuck we are. Nobody knows that there is a record label in town that is backed by legitimate investors and legitimate people who have been in the industry. Uh, Someone I do not want to mention, but I told you that pretty much founded TLC, Usher. Uh, he was there when I met Father MC on the soundstage. Um, Been successful in the music industry for many a years, and it's even on the Daisy Duke song. The band who, or the group that wrote that, they were his artists, and they even give him a shout out at the end. So next time you hear Daisy Duke's song, they say a name, and I'll just give the initials: T as in Tom, M as in Mary, and it was that was our producer's mentor. And while he seemed like a legitimate businessman, I mean, of course he had to have been if he signed all these big artists. I wish he would have told him, dude, you're doing things backwards. You know, get your artists out front, get your artists' music out there. And then next, worry about creating an image. Because once you create that music, and if people like it, the stars are the limit. I mean, you could take advantage of so much on a good release, on a good album, and try to ride that wave into a next one. And see, what I've seen a lot of popular artists do is they'll record 40 different tracks. They'll pick their, 15 best ones, and then they'll go back and listen over some of their tracks that they had worked on, and then just re-release those in another CD. And that's just to keep the momentum going. If you start hearing that this so-and-so artist, their record freaking was awesome right here, that was off the hook. Or it could go something like with Eminem, people saying, no, man, his last 4 albums sucked. Well, it's probably because he was riding the flow from his, popular days, trying to recreate that by, recording all these different songs. And I heard he was doing like different accents and shit. I've never listened to any of those. But riding a success wave into another is what many artists do. I really don't see anything wrong with having a ghostwriter. I mean, if somebody could write some shit and you could rap it out, I mean, that's pretty damn good. And because it's hard, because they're not coming from the point of view, and I think that's why hip hop influenced culture the way it did, since NWA, since Slick Rick's, since your Pharoah Munch, since what the hell is his name, Rakim. These are artists who pioneered, what the rap industry starts to call, bars, or what is it? It's on the tip of my tongue. Syllables. And what I love about Eminem is that in almost every single song, he always gives a shout out to the people that influenced him. For one, on Godzilla, when he says, I'm just a product of Slick Rick and Onyx, and told him to lick the... And there was just too many things. And I pissed him off. Goes a lot better like then. If I were to just start doing it off the bat, I know all the words by heart already, except for the fast part. But you kind of get where I'm coming from. Now he's reinventing a whole new other style that people are falling back in love with him again. And I mean, come on. you know, he basically got. I know he wasn't the encore at the Super Bowl. Dre and Snoop were, but the crowd went the most wild when Eminem popped out. And I think because his music was so well versed. His Yeah, he was just so well versed in different. When he clowns on people who say, "Oh, that's not hip hop, that's pop." Jealous because I found a way to fuse it. What's wrong with that? What's wrong with fusing hip hop and pop? To many of the people in the black community, they're like, "Oh, fuck this white rapper. He's not, this or that." Now, when you have, and he always lists Jay Z as one of his biggest, rappers of all times. Uh, even Jay Z speaks on him in such high regards. And he was established. Now imagine taking that same artist, unestablished, nothing has been released from him. All he is a white kid. How many people are you think are gonna be curious about what's on the side of a fucking avalanche truck vinyl wrapped? None. And I told him, you are wasting so many goddamn resources, and you have me signing off on all these fucking credit card expenses. And, good thing the investor knew it wasn't me that would be taking money, and it wasn't. I ain't gonna steal shit, never have, never will. But it was pathetic on his business acumen because he was just as dense as a. That's how they come. Producing, yeah, phenomenal. Could play the piano like Alejandro. Could play the guitar like Alejandro. Could produce beats like none other. But put him in something in a business capacity and trying to take advantage of it by saying, yeah, like we did a good job, like I said, and I will keep on repeating over and over again. That live news, excuse me, that live radio coverage was all me at fucking 19, 20 years old. Here I am putting on a live radio feed of a rap battle where people would call in or show up, and basically just on the 8 Mile, is it this artist or this artist, audience, and they had a meter there to read who got the loudest, um, response, and then the other artists, of course, thank you for trying this and that, and three white boys and a Hispanic are the ones who won. And I told him, I said, this is a good thing. We're branching out now. Now we have, an Asian who could rap honestly. And I'm not, God rest his soul, but this guy could rap like Juice World. Probably before Juice World was even alive. I mean, this dude was unbelievable. Uh, his other partner, I have no idea why they signed him. I think honestly they signed him because he had a raspy voice. But other than that, lyrically, yeah. These white guys and this Hispanic dude, they could flow. Like all three of them. So they worked well together as a, group, and that's how we were going to present it. And that's when that fucking producer gets caught embezzling all that money. I say, fuck off. I walk out on them. Got my own brand new and our position with one of the biggest um, labels in the music industry, ran by real businessmen, and flourished going forward. Never found a Biggie, never found a Tupac, which I know some people are going to hate me for saying this, but Tupac is so overrated. Nonetheless, never found those types of talents. Every talent that I found did actually get through first phase, but second phase, nerves get to you, and you got to keep that in mind. Some people don't have that tolerance, though, and like, oh, no, look, he's already panicking, this and that. Like, no, give him a minute, man. Let him warm up. Let him do his thing. Sometimes they would listen to you, sometimes they wouldn't, but There were a lot of amazing artists that we had, and he just fucked it all up. So that's where I was executive at, him and I had co-executive, but it was just too long of a YouTube channel name. So I just cut it down, retired record label executive, given that that was my title at one point and his. I wish it would have been the investors that said, all right, Cisco, you take care of the business side of things, and you fat fuck, you pay attention to what you're producing. If things happen like that, we would have been unstoppable. I mean, everything from going down to Atlanta on the soundstage, getting to become cool with Father MC, who brought in Mary J. Blige in the industry, Guy, Jodeci, all these artists he helped bring into Uptown Records. And he fucked it up. So when I was working for this extremely big record label, like I said, it was a breath of fresh air. You know, I put in many hours. Logged in many frequent flyer miles. But I want you guys to know, anybody who wants to get in this industry is going to need to make a lot, and I mean a lot of sacrifices, because it's not easy. Not very many women are going to be tolerable of their man being out at a club-like scenario, or a club every single weekend or throughout the week, and believe he's not having an affair. So bye-bye any opportunities at getting a relationship. And since I always wanted a baby girl, it never bothered me none, because I was ready to retire and start a family, find somebody, except I found a fucking psycho. But I did find, you know, I did have, we had our daughter, and most amazing moment of my life. There's nothing that can possibly happen when you see your first child being born. I was so happy. In fact, I never was against it, but I was like, if I'm going to get a tattoo, it's going to be meaningful. And so I got this. And it looks just like the picture that we took of her on her very first little photo shoot. And let's see if I could find the picture. I mean, this artist was on point. So now I only have work done by him, because this dude was phenomenal. I didn't know what to expect. It didn't hurt, because I used to have tons of piercings, but not that one. Where is it? Not that one. Here it is, in black and white. And then from that to that. Pretty damn good. I know I would never be able to do something like that. I suck when it comes to art. But yeah, prepared for your life to change overall and completely just be subservient to people that have your future in their hands. I hate to say it, but it's almost like having to be a fucking kiss ass just to make it through. Then once you start getting paid, don't do anything that would jeopardize your integrity. Keep your integrity intact, and know when to say yes and know when to say no. Because if you say yes to everything, there's no letting up. Then everybody and their mother in that office is going to be bugging you. You need to do this. Can you go do that? and it's just going to make it more difficult on yourself. So learn at times to say no, because I didn't know how to do that at first. I would say yes to everything just because the opportunity that was given to me. I was so happy and accepting of that that I didn't care I wasn't getting paid the first, year and a half. The only thing that kept me going was the lawsuit that I had filed against Denver Public Schools for getting hurt, and they never called an ambulance. And, luckily I had that money, or else I never would have interned, and my dream would have never came true. But I always ask, does anybody have a backup dream? I sure as shit didn't. And this whole acting thing that I just got into, it's, yeah, it's similar in many ways, but depending on who you're working with, it could also be awesome. And the crew that I worked with was fucking awesome. They did everything to make it just look beautiful. And of course, I haven't seen the whole film in its entirety. The shoot on that day was all about me, and it's kind of weird having all the attention focused on you and on what you do and how you deliver your line and how you, walk into frame and how you, your mannerisms and all that. And I got a really nice email from one of the head actors, actually one leading actors, just saying that the director told him, like, yeah, man, Cisco fucking killed it. Um, the boom operator, he tells me, like, man, you fucking sounded cool right there. And I wasn't expecting to receive any type of compliments like that. The only thing I was doing was sweating like a mofo, because there I am in a full suit. And like I said, it's been hot as hell here in Denver, and they're not too far from Denver. So I'm sweating up the storm. So the poor makeup artist had to keep on coming back and applying more makeup here and there so I wouldn't appear all shiny like this. And I was hot. I wasn't nervous at all. I knew my lines front and back, but yeah, that, the entertainment industry as a whole is a trip. And I hate to use the most corniest of an example, but the entertainment industry is like a box of chocolates. It really is. You may settle down with the record label that is looking for their employees to succeed, looking to get their employees into higher positions that have proven their worth. And loyalty is a big thing as well. But if you're not that type of person to show and put forth that effort, it's not going to go the way you want it to, and you're going to think it was for nothing. But it's not for nothing if you do your best. And like I said, it doesn't take me to tell somebody, where their integrity, begins and ends. Only you can determine that, but a lot of people do, unfortunately, lose their integrity from just being too much of a brown noser. So don't ever do that. Um, I finally, after 12, 13 years, said, you know what? Let's start this family. Let's go find someone. Let's settle down. And I totally, to this day, have become so extroverted. I used to be real introverted. I mean, I was a big drinker, beer, didn't like spirits, loved beer. Um, Man, I remember there were days that I'd polish off, a case, and it was would barely fill it because that was back then when I used to be fat. But the more and more I kept on going out to these places, the more and more I was seeing, like, God, do I act like a fucking idiot like these people do? So I stopped. So that was a positive thing, but, you know, it's just it's just an industry that can eat people up. Stay away from the drugs, stay away from the alcohol. Focus on what you need to do to succeed, because you're going to have, even as an A&R person, if people find out who you are, everybody and their mother is going to fucking stop you and be like, yo, check out this rap. Yo, I just wrote this right now. And they're going to be flowing in front of you, and it sounds so terrible. You're just like, yeah, man, that was great. Oh, do you have a business card or something? Like, no, I just gave out my last one. I'm sorry, man. Ah, well, come through, tomorrow. No, because they were really that bad. But every great once in a while, you'd find somebody that was unique and had their own little style, their own little twist. And those were the ones that we were looking for. With the little record label, he didn't diversify. He kept it all hip hop. I kept on telling him, dude, we have a huge studio. Why don't you concentrate on bringing in more than just hip hop artists? This is not, you know, blank records, just hip hop on our business cards. This is blank record label, and all we're doing is focusing on hip hop. I remember I started to hear, the crossovers of, like, let's say Linkin Park, using rock and rap, which when they first came out, they blew up. They were huge. I mean, you have someone on the tables spinning, you have someone on the, fucking rapping, you have another one singing. I mean, that was intriguing. That was awesome. But things like that come around every so often. So that's why I always say it about Alejandro. Anything related to American Idol with him has millions and millions of views. Why do they keep on bringing him back every other season? Because people fucking love him. But why doesn't he get that same support on his own? I do not know. I know I would raise my hand in a heartbeat and say, dude, from my experience, let's get these fans. But I'm not in a position to do so. Only position that I am in is to, sit here and make a video about what my intentions would be for an artist as gripping and as compelling as Alejandro, while maintaining his, unique style, and yet his humbleness, which is just awesome. And that's where, you know, he's so cool comes from, because if you're easy to approach, if you're nice and kind to others, you do get it in return. And that's when I, realize, like, no, it's not a dog eat dog world. Not for, a true established record label. It was never like that. Of course, you want to bring in more than your colleagues, but, it wasn't anything like my first experience. And so, in closing with this story, on my first upload, I do not know why it blocked my video. There was no copyright crap on there, but apparently they blocked it, and I had made a call to our local news station to see if I could get some archival footage of when they filmed uh, the record label coming into its own. And it has that punk ass producer on there talking about wanting to create a hub between, here, LA, and Nashville, and Atlanta, and New York, where Colorado could become, known for its music diversity as well. But, yep, that was just an act. Because maybe at some point he really had the vision for something like that to happen, but he let money and PU blank Y get the best of him. So I'm glad I left when I did. So, if you guys have any questions, by all means, please feel free to ask, because I know there might be a lot of people on here who might want to get into the, music industry. I'm just telling you what was hard and difficult on my path and my journey. And being so young when I started, I don't know what my second backup dream is. Is it this acting stuff? You know, sure, if I get more roles, it definitely would be. Uh, I don't know whatever happened to my talent agent. This I haven't heard from her since COVID, so I pray to God that she's okay and didn't, suffer any major illnesses. But yeah, it's just some people are a trip to be around. And like I said, most importantly, and I'm going to repeat this one more time, make sure to keep your integrity intact. So, if you guys have questions, by all means, feel free to direct message me or leave any comments. If you would like to, you could like and subscribe. I love to see that I'm getting more and more subscribers. I think that's cool. So yeah, until a little bit, I will see you guys soon. So, peace.